Welcome to Beyond the Call, where history, leadership, and heroism come alive. Today's episode explores the story of First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet, a powerful story of courage and perseverance. If you enjoy learning more about military history and extraordinary individuals, be sure to visit trackpads.com for articles, podcasts, and more. Introduction. First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet distinguished himself through an extraordinary act of heroism during the Vietnam War. He courageously sacrificed his life to protect his fellow soldiers. Serving as the rifle platoon leader of the 2nd Platoon, Company B, 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment, Fournet displayed gallantry beyond the call of duty. On May 4, 1968, in the A Shau Valley, Republic of Vietnam. His valorous actions involved deliberately placing himself in mortal danger by shielding his men from the lethal blast of an enemy mine, ensuring their survival at the ultimate cost of his own life. Amidst the thick jungle and intense enemy fire of Operation Delaware, Fournet's platoon encountered fortified enemy positions and hidden explosives, dramatically escalating an already dangerous situation. In a pivotal moment, First Lieutenant Fournet spotted an enemy claymore mine threatening the lives of his comrades. Without hesitation, he moved decisively to neutralize the threat. He attempted to disable the device and save the soldiers behind him, creating an indelible legacy of bravery and sacrifice. Historical context. The Vietnam War was a prolonged conflict that lasted from the mid-1950s until 1975. It was characterized by intense guerrilla warfare, difficult terrain, and controversial political dynamics. The United States became deeply involved in supporting South Vietnam against the Communist North Vietnamese government, reflecting Cold War tensions. The American strategy focused on suppressing the Viet Cong guerrillas and North Vietnamese forces, employing massive troop deployments and frequent combat operations like Operation Delaware. Operation Delaware, conducted from April 19 to May 17, 1968, aimed to disrupt enemy logistics and command structures in the strategically vital A Shau Valley. This valley was a critical supply and infiltration route for the North Vietnamese Army, heavily fortified and notoriously difficult to assault. American forces encountered fierce resistance, heavily mined areas, and well-camouflaged enemy positions, which required extraordinary vigilance and bravery from units on the ground. The geopolitical significance of the A Shau Valley made Operation Delaware particularly critical. Control of this region meant severing a crucial lifeline for North Vietnamese troops moving supplies and reinforcements into South Vietnam. Despite heavy aerial bombardments, troops on the ground often faced intense, close-quarters combat as they tried to root out entrenched enemy forces, determined to maintain their strategic advantage. The 1st Cavalry Division, to which First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet belonged, played a pivotal role during Operation Delaware. As an airmobile division, the unit specialized in rapid deployment and assault by helicopter. This made it uniquely suited for operations in challenging terrain like the A Shau Valley. The division had gained a formidable reputation for its aggressive tactics and tenacity, frequently engaging enemy forces in critical battles throughout Vietnam. Company B, 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment, within the 1st Cavalry Division, bore much of the direct combat burden in Operation Delaware. As rifle platoon leader of the 2nd Platoon, Fournet was responsible for leading his men through intense firefights. He also had to navigate hazardous landscapes filled with concealed enemy fortifications. His leadership and bravery under extreme conditions became legendary, setting an enduring example for soldiers fighting not only in Vietnam, but in future conflicts as well. Personal background. Douglas Bernard Fournet was born on May 7, 1943 in Lake Charles, Louisiana. After graduating from Kinder High School, he attended McNeese State University in Lake Charles, developing a keen sense of duty and patriotism. He joined the United States Army from New Orleans in 1966 and successfully completed Officer Candidate School at Fort Benning, Georgia. He emerged as a promising young officer with a steadfast commitment to service. Tragically, Fournet's life was cut short at the age of 24 during his heroic actions in Vietnam, leaving behind a young family. He was survived by his wife, Marilyn Grissett, and a son, Bill Fournet, born shortly after his father's death. Fournet's enduring legacy continues through the remembrance and honor of his bravery. He was inducted into the Louisiana Military Hall of Fame and Museum, and a section of Interstate 210 near Lake Charles was named the Douglas Fournet Expressway. Medal of Honor citation for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. First Lieutenant Fournet Infantry distinguished himself while serving as rifle platoon leader of the 2nd Platoon, Company B. His unit was advancing uphill against fortified enemy positions when it encountered intense sniper fire and automatic weapons fire, which inflicted heavy casualties. Moving ahead of his men, First Lieutenant Fournet began calling directions to his platoon as he maneuvered toward the enemy emplacement. At this moment, an enemy claymore mine was detonated, severely wounding several soldiers. Immediately, First Lieutenant Fournet observed another claymore mine being detonated directly in front of his men. With complete disregard for his personal safety, he shouted a warning and placed his body directly in the path of the mine's blast. He absorbed the full force of the explosion with his own body, thereby saving his men from serious injury or death. His extraordinary heroism, selflessness, and devotion to duty were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. The Battle and Medal of Honor actions. On May 4, 1968, during Operation Delaware, in the dense and treacherous jungles of the A Shau Valley, First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet was leading his rifle platoon through heavily fortified enemy territory. The platoon moved carefully, ascending a steep hillside, fully aware that enemy forces had expertly camouflaged their positions. Snipers and automatic weapons fire erupted suddenly from concealed positions, catching Fournet's men in an ambush, leaving them pinned down and suffering significant casualties. Reacting quickly, Fournet moved forward to guide and encourage his soldiers, seeking to restore order amid the chaos. Amid the fierce firefight, enemy forces activated a hidden claymore mine, causing devastating injuries among Fournet's platoon. The powerful explosion intensified the confusion and threatened to break the morale of the troops. Observing the severity of the situation and understanding the critical need to protect his men, Fournet moved swiftly to reorganize and reassure his soldiers. His decisive presence and calm demeanor helped stabilize the platoon momentarily, even as enemy fire continued to rain down upon them. As the platoon struggled to reorganize, First Lieutenant Fournet spotted yet another claymore mine being activated directly in front of his vulnerable soldiers. Realizing the immediate danger, he made a split-second decision to place himself directly in harm's way, consciously and willingly risking his life. He shouted a loud and clear warning to his men, giving them precious seconds to brace for the explosion. His quick thinking and bravery were instrumental in preventing further catastrophic injuries. Without hesitation, Fournet positioned his own body between the deadly explosive and his men, shielding them from the brunt of the blast. The explosion was devastating, and Fournet absorbed the full force of the claymore, sparing his fellow soldiers from grave injury or certain death. In this selfless act, First Lieutenant Fournet sacrificed his life, displaying courage and devotion to duty far beyond what was expected or demanded. The impact of Fournet's heroic sacrifice reverberated throughout his unit, galvanizing their resolve and inspiring them to persevere through the brutal combat conditions of the A Shau Valley. His men, deeply moved and forever grateful, credited their survival to Fournet's extraordinary bravery and self-sacrifice. The platoon was able to regroup and ultimately continue its mission, profoundly impacted by their leader's heroic example, which had strengthened their unity and resolve under fire. Fournet's actions had a profound and lasting impact, echoing throughout his unit and the broader military community. His courageous decision in the face of certain death became an enduring testament to the highest standards of military heroism and leadership. Awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously, First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet's legacy continues to inspire military personnel, historians, and civilians alike. He serves as a compelling reminder of the ultimate sacrifices made in war, reflections and lessons learned. First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet's remarkable bravery teaches timeless lessons about leadership under pressure. It shows that true leadership involves selflessness, decisive action, and the willingness to make personal sacrifices for the greater good. His actions in the heat of battle underscore the critical importance of leaders maintaining clarity, composure, and courage, even when facing imminent danger. Fournet's example demonstrates how one individual's commitment can significantly alter the outcome of a dire situation, ultimately saving lives. Fournet's extraordinary courage also emphasizes ethical responsibility in leadership, highlighting the profound duty leaders bear toward those under their command. His sacrifice was not merely an act of bravery, but an embodiment of deep moral conviction that places the well-being of others above one's own safety. Such profound ethical commitment continues to resonate with current military leaders. They draw inspiration from Fournet's valor as they navigate complex moral and tactical decisions in modern warfare. The enduring relevance of Fournet's heroism extends beyond military circles. It provides powerful insights applicable to leadership in civilian life, including business, emergency response, and community leadership roles. His story serves as a poignant reminder that the essence of leadership lies not in authority, but in service and sacrifice. Fournet's ultimate sacrifice vividly illustrates the power and responsibility leaders hold. Closing, the legacy of First Lieutenant Douglas Bernard Fournet continues to exemplify heroism and sacrifice beyond the call of duty. His extraordinary actions and unwavering commitment remind us that true leadership is measured not by rank or authority, but by courage, sacrifice, and ethical conviction in moments of greatest challenge. As we reflect on Fournet's heroism, we invite you to join us for our next compelling story of bravery, sacrifice, and valor. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Beyond the Call. If you would like to dive deeper into more stories of bravery, leadership, and history, visit trackpads.com. Until next time, keep exploring, stay inspired, and remember, the lessons of the past shape the warriors of the future.